What's up, Degenerate Nation? Welcome to the Big Bets on Campus podcast presented by Draftkings. This is the Week 13 college football betting preview. I'm Stuckey, and joining me, as always, my fellow BBOC co-host, Collin Wilson. Got a lot to get to today. We'll get to, about 20 games or so on the Week 13 slate. It's crazy that it's already Week 13. Only one more big slate left in the college football season, but plenty more games to come. We'll have conference championship weekend, all the bowls. I think that's when we do our best work. And then obviously the college football playoff. And don't worry, this channel and show will continue with college basketball very shortly. More to come on that front. Also, quick reminders before we get started here. If you use Twitter, be sure to check out @Playbook, the new betting bot from Action. You can turn your screenshot into a bet slip. It's pretty easy. Just follow @Playbook on Twitter for more info. But if you see a bet you like, just say, hey, @Playbook. It'll automatically generate the bet slip for you, save you some time, especially if you like a parlay or a player prop. Super easy. Make sure to follow, check it out @Playbook. We'll also have a quick slip link in the video and podcast description where you can find and tail some of the bets we discussed in today's episode, or you can visit actionnetwork.com/bet now. Additionally, quick self-promotion on the new co-host of the Favorites podcast, which is returned with a brand new lineup. Myself, Kendra Middleton, Brandon Kravitz. Episodes Tuesdays, Thursdays, Sundays. Bets, stories, a lot of fun stuff, all centered around the NFL. Went through most of the games today. Make sure you check it out whenever you get a chance. And before we really get started, I'll throw to myself for a quick word from DraftKings. The Big Bets on Campus podcast has teamed up with DraftKings Sportsbook, where new customers can bet $5 and get $200 back in bonus bets if your bet wins, plus 3 months of NBA League Pass. Stay in on the action and use your bonus bets on DraftKings same-game parlays for an even bigger payout. To get started, use promo code BBOC when signing up with DraftKings. Again, that's promo code BBOC when signing up, and bet $5 to get $200 back in bonus bets if your bet wins, plus 3 months of NBA League Pass. The crown is yours. All right, Colin, let's dive in here. It's not the best slate. This usually happens the weekend before Thanksgiving, right? It's Tin Horn weekend. A lot of the SEC teams play nobodies. There's a couple big swing games for the college football playoff implications, but it's late in the year. Market's getting more efficient with each passing week.
Well, I think what makes it also tougher is that there's not a lot of I need to go to a bowl versus corpses, right? Everybody in the Sun Belt's still alive to make a bowl.
Yeah. So I spend most of my time trying to find smaller edges on matchups, especially this week. Some motivational edges, which we'll get into, and some injury stuff. So we'll try to hit on all of that. But let's start. Let's go. We'll have 2 marquee games, and we'll try to hit a bunch. Let's start with USC Oregon. That's probably the highest leverage game of the entire weekend. The winner of this game, if USC wins, they're in good positioning for the college football playoff. If Oregon wins, maintain their standing, and maybe they can afford to lose next weekend at Washington, or maybe not. But we'll see. But the loser of this game could be in trouble. The winner potentially in the driver's seat. USC, it is a must-win for it. USC's catching around 9.5, 10. Total is sitting. When was the last time I saw this total? Where's this total sitting at? Let's see, 59, 59.5. Yeah, and you can find some juice 9.5, some 10s, some 10.5s, but pretty much the spread is sitting around 10. USC star running back Waymon Jordan did return to practice. Doesn't look like he's going to go. DeCorian Moore, do we have word on him yet for Oregon?
We don't, and he walked off the field just fine after the last game, and all you can get out of Dan Lanning 2 days in a row is he'll be okay. Well, yeah, we got that, but is he playing, right?
Yeah. So, listen, I'm still not fully sold on this Oregon team as a legit elite team.
Right.
They can beat up on cupcakes. we've seen that. Like if you look at like when they play really bad teams, they grade out as like the best team in the country. But when they played Indiana, Iowa, even Wisconsin to an extent, it hasn't been as
so
fully.
What you're saying is the physical teams, right? It's the same shit every year, right? They can't win the interior battle in the trench.
Yep. So I mean, and if you look at their statistical profile, you'll see like, oh, they have the number one pass defense on paper, but they lost to Indiana, and their other passing offenses they faced: Penn State, Northwestern, Oklahoma State, Oregon State, Rutgers, probably the best passing offense they faced, Wisconsin, Iowa, and Minnesota. Like most of those teams are horrendous through the air. USC does at least have some juice in that department. They have arguably, outside of Ohio State, the best wide receiver duo in the country in Lemon and Lane. So maybe they can test this Oregon secondary. But there's some concerning things for USC. One, Lincoln Riley, his teams never travel well.
Nope.
And that has been the case for USC once again this year. I mean, they probably lose at Nebraska if Iowa doesn't get hurt. Maeva, in particular, has not played well on the road this year. I mean, at Purdue, he was okay. At Illinois, he was okay. At Notre Dame, I mean, he's turning it over. I mean, at Nebraska, it was pretty ugly. So this is a different team, home and away. And then my biggest fear for USC is, are they going to be able to stop Oregon's ground game? Like, can Oregon just line it up here and just run it down USC's throat the entire game? That would be my biggest concern. On the surface, I show a touch of value on USC, but I don't really trust them on the road. I do think the loss of Jordan is so big. He just brings another dynamic element to that rushing attack, which leads to everything else. I don't trust the USC rush defense. And, part of me wants to bet, especially if Moore is good to go, part of me wants to bet this over.
Yep.
Because you've had, over the past couple of weeks, you had Oregon play at Iowa with weather. You had Oregon play against Wisconsin with weather. You had USC play in weather against Iowa, which has kind of suppressed some of their offense in recent weeks. And I think there's going to be an opportunity for both teams to move the ball here. What are you seeing in USC, Oregon?
Well, there's some names that we really need to focus on from the USC side, because I think Oregon has the chance to blow this game open if there's more injuries on the defense than what happened against Iowa. So you can look at the numbers all you want. USC's defensively 128th in rushing success rate, 130th in defensive line yards. Like Jordan Davison, I've already bet 2+ TDs as a prop. He's had 2 TDs for Oregon in 2 of the last 3 games. It's like 3-1 out there. Why not throw a quarter unit on it? I went ahead and did it and wrote it up because I don't think USC, no matter what is going on, is going to be able to contain what Oregon does on the ground. The big news is what happened in Iowa is the 2 best pieces of this USC defense both left the game or weren't a part of the end of the Iowa game. Kamari Ramsey, Bishop Fitzgerald, the 2 best safeties on the team, both had injury against Iowa. Fitzgerald went into the tent and then immediately went back to the locker room. Don't know if he's going to play here. His backup safety, Christian Pierce, comes in, immediately gives up 3 tackles. So what you see in the numbers and the analytics is that USC is really good at tackling, like top 15 and broken tackles allowed, PFF tackling, all that good stuff. But it's the second level tackling that kind of boosts that number. Well, if they're missing the 2 best pieces of that secondary, which are both safeties, that's really bad news against Jordan
Ramsey's
Davison.
super important, though. Green dot. You saw he missed the Illinois game with food poisoning, and their defense fell apart.
And that could happen here. And then it's not a good sign. The defensive tackle Keyshawn Silver was unable to go against Iowa. He went to the tent and then went back to the locker room. So I like the Oregon offense already, and I don't even know if DeCorian Moore or Gary Bryant Jr. is going to be there. And does it matter? Because Kenton Sadiq.
Bryant doesn't really. I don't think Bryant matters that much. He's kind of a jag, but Moore would provide some more juice on that side.
Sadiq, though, like Dante Moore, has fallen in love with his tight end, right? And I mean, he's just making circus catches now. So I think you got to watch for those injuries. in the second level of USC because I think that's the difference of Oregon covering this game and Oregon blowing out this game. And then when you go to the other side, the reason why we're probably not going to be big lovers of Oregon in the playoff is because of what we said. They're not physical enough in the trench. And Brian Jackson is this running back for USC who's taking direct snaps in the red zone and running it in himself. He's just a tank in the red zone. And Oregon just has issues all season long. Like Minnesota just went 67% success rate against the Ducks on the ground. And really, when you go into run concepts, USC doesn't do it much. But here's what I'm looking for in the playoff. Teams that run inside zone with 12 personnel, 2 tight ends, have destroyed Oregon. USC's run about 54 snaps with 2 tights inside zone, and they've averaged 63%. I don't know if they have enough firepower to get away with it in this game, but that is the formula that's going to blow Oregon out of the water against one of these teams coming up. But I like Oregon here. I like the over here. I like their team total over. And I think if you want to sprinkle Jordan Davis in 2 touchdowns, he's done it 2 of the last 3 games. This is a bad rush defense.
Yeah, I think where Oregon is potentially going to get got is at Washington. Now, Washington has to be healthy. The biggest difference that Washington, one of the biggest differences between them and the elite of the Big Ten is they don't have depth, right? They haven't built out their roster with depth yet. When they didn't have Carver Willis at left tackle and they had to go to Maximus McCree, the drop off is from here to here.
Right.
John Mills, their stud true freshman, who's probably going to be their starting left tackle next year, he's at left guard when he was out. The drop off, precipitous. They actually had to move him to right tackle last week against Purdue. He did a pretty good job, but that was against Purdue because their right tackle as a party was out. Their center, Hatchett, dealing with a hand injury as a cast, so he can't really snap it. He has to snap it with his other hand, and then he can't really grab defensive linemen. So their center's out. And then because they had to move Mills to tackle, they have a new freshman guard in there. Boston, Coleman, I think they'll be back this week, but we don't know. But if Washington's fully healthy, I think they can beat Oregon. If they're not, it might just be too shaky because the drop off between the starters and the depth pieces on Washington is dramatic. And Washington has been much better at home overall. I think that's the more interesting game where Oregon could get picked off. We'll talk about that next week. Those are some injuries to watch, though, for UCLA. Washington might not be fully healthy. And also, we don't know on Nico for UCLA.
I make that game 6 right now. So I just watch those openers. I think Sunday's going to be a big firing day. For those of you that are listening, Stuck and I do our pod early Sunday morning, and then I start firing on openers. And I make this one 6, and I will be looking for Washington.
I would love to get a 7.
Yeah.
Love. All right, let's talk a little BYU Cincinnati. BYU is a 2.5 point favorite here. Total 56. You can find some.
That thing is taken off since I wrote it up for Action. So Action published my article on this on Wednesday morning, and the total's gone.
Yeah, I know you like that over. I don't disagree. Your Cincinnati is going to get Evan Pryor back. That's big. Caleb Goody back. That's big. I think this is a bit of an over adjustment for BYU in the market. The market generally fades BYU almost every week. I mean, last week BYU closed 3 at home against TCU. This is a team that was a 3-point dog on the road at Iowa State. They were a 2.5 point favorite at Arizona, an Arizona team that was just a 6.5 point dog at Cincinnati.
You know I love BYU, and I make this a pick.
Yeah, so I want Cincinnati here. I want a 3. So I've been waiting. I'm so tired of looking at the board in this section at the top where BYU Cincinnati is. Have it hot in color. We're just waiting for a 3 to pop. If it gets there, I'm on Cincy. If it doesn't, because look, I might do this anyway. I might be looking at Cincy first half.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, we know that Scott Satterfield is certainly not allergic to blowing leads. He's one of the best.
Better than Arkansas?
We also know, what's that?
Better than Arkansas?
Yeah, I mean, Arkansas is going to give him a run for his money. We'll get to the Hogs. We also know BYU on the road starts slow almost every time. They've played 5 road games this year. They've trailed at the half in 4 of them. They ended up winning 4 by a combined 22 points. So they're plus 22 on the road, minus 17 in the first half. I mean, I'm talking against Colorado, Iowa State, Arizona, right? And then their offense wakes up on the road in the second half. Maybe part of that is, freshman, young kid on the road, but they're consistently all year they've started slow on the road. I expect Cincy, after back-to-back losses, their offense now at full strength. And Sorsby, I think, can have success against this BYU defense. I think both offenses have major advantages. Probably just comes down to the wire here. So I would love a 3. I think this is a coin flip game as well. So that's my view on it. I don't disagree with your overlook, but I just think this is a big over adjustment on BYU.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just love to get a 3. I think this is more of a coin flip game. I know you love the
over.
Do
Yeah.
you want to make your case?
Yeah, massive advantages for both of these. And listen, I didn't really take much off of BYU's power rating for losing to Texas Tech the way they did because they were hurt. They got healthy. They showed up against TCU, and they absolutely went crazy and blew them out. LJ Martin, Bear Bachmeier, 6.2 yards per play. BYU scored on all 5 red zone trips. I mean, they're now top 10 in quality drives. Inside zone with 11 and 12. But outside zone has been what's gotten them the explosive play. So they're going to run zone read, and if you can't stop it, you're in trouble. Cincinnati they can't stop a lot, but they definitely can't stop zone read concepts. 38% against inside zone. I mean, I expect Bear Bachmeier up the middle all day. And when LJ Martin comes off the tackles, that's going to be a problem. The Bearcats
also can't get any pressure.
Right. This was to say they don't disrupt any offense. They're outside the top 100 in havoc. They don't create any kind of pass rush. But on the other side of the ball, Evan Pryor is he is really, I mean, Cincinnati's last 2 losses, they just don't have any juice on offense. And a lot of it is Evan Pryor not being there. I mean, what is he, 4.5 yards after first contact? He's had 17 explosive runs on the season. The BYU D does struggle against inside zone. If you're going to attack BYU on defense, it's not going to be through the air. Jay Hill's had a pretty good pass defense this entire season, running cover 1 and cover 3. Sorsby's a great quarterback. I think he's definitely going to get a high draft grade and probably see him at the next level. So they might be able to do some damage there, especially with Caleb Goody back. I mean, that 18.8 yards per catch, 1.8 yards per route run. Goody's like a weapon that Sorsby's really missed here these last 2 losses. So I like the over for the simple fact that I don't see resistance to either offense whatsoever. I think it really comes down to if Evan Pryor, if they're so keyed in on Evan Pryor, that nickel defense, are they going to kind of loosen up and not have as good of coverage for Sorsby to dice up? So if Sorsby is passing against BYU without any hesitation or any problems and Pryor is running, maybe you take a live number. But I agree with you, Stuck. I would take a 3. And because of the number of points I expect in this, I wrote it up at 54. We're at 56. This thing is taking major money.
Yeah, across the key, 55.
I think it's going to keep going. I'm looking at my number right now. It's 58.5. I'd take it all the way up to 59, which is the next key. But if there's going to be this many points in it, you can get Cincinnati plus 3 and probably get BYU at some point.
How important is this game? Well, Texas Tech is sitting at 7-1 in the conference. They have West Virginia. They're at West Virginia. Well, they've been feisty with Scotty Fox, but you assume Texas Tech's going to win that game. Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship. If BYU wins this game, they host UCF. You think they win that game? That's your Big 12 championship. Things get a little interesting if BYU loses this game. And if Cincinnati wins, right, then you're going to have Cincy with 2 losses. Utah, who plays Kansas State, should win that game with 2 losses. Arizona State hosts Arizona and goes to Colorado.
I you have this look on this face the last 2 podcasts. I'm just going to say this. I've been watching you whenever you say it. You look like you're dying to bet an Arizona State future. You've had this smirk when you said Arizona State 2 podcasts in a row. Are you trying to bet Arizona?
Do you think Jeff Sims is going to beat Texas Tech?
No, but I know you want.
I can't. All right, so you have all these teams with 2 losses: BYU, Arizona State, Cincinnati, Houston, and Utah. You assume Utah takes care of business.
Yep.
Houston is home against TCU. That's a coin flip-ish game. Then they're at Baylor. Cincinnati is home against BYU, and they close out the season at TCU. So there's a lot that can go on here. But if BYU wins, we're pretty much getting BYU Texas Tech. If BYU loses, we're getting chaos. Now the interesting thing is if Arizona State wins out,
here we go.
You're smiling. They're going to be favorite. They're going. Jeff Sims is going. They're going to win the tiebreakers. So if you have Utah futures, I think you and I both have Utah futures.
Yep.
I think Colorado could get Arizona State this week. Now, they've been bad.
I agree.
If Colorado wins and then there's a tiebreaker, depending what other stuff happens, if it's just BYU and Utah, BYU is going to go because they beat Utah. But if you become a Houston fan, so if Houston beats TCU and Baylor, then you have a three-way tie. And it looks like BYU will go again. Oh, this is tough. Yeah, it looks, I don't even know Utah's path. I'm doing this on the fly.
That's why I keep seeing them up there in the college football rankings. I'm thinking,
I mean, obviously UCF could beat BYU, but I highly doubt that. Not in Provo. If Arizona State, let's see if Arizona State, Arizona State it looks like would win a four-way tiebreaker. I don't even know Utah's path besides like a crazy upset, but we are going to have chaos if Cincinnati wins. If not, it's going to be boring in the Big 12 until the Big.
It's never
boring,
boring.
Most likely.
It's never boring in the Big 12.
That's true. There'll probably be more scenarios to come. All right, let's get to the rundown.
By the way, I do love Brett Yormark chirping about how strong their conference is. Like, I think Utah's going to get bumped from the playoff, but go ahead.
Yes, I don't see Utah making it. All right, let's go to the ACC. A couple games we'll hit quickly. We have SMU hosting Louisville. Poor Louisville and my Louisville futures. I mean, they've lost 3 games this year, 2 in overtime, 1 by 1 because of 2 missed kicks and a missed extra point.
Mm-hmm.
All when they were the better statistical team. But they're out of it now. Where are they at mentally?
Right.
I don't know. I'd be worried. And I've said this all year. They're not the same offense without Isaac Brown. They just don't have that same balance, and they don't have the same explosiveness in the rushing game. SMU playing better of late. They're still in the mix. They're 5-1 in league play. Pitt's 5-1 in league play. Virginia is 6-1. Georgia Tech is 6-1. Pretty simple here. If Georgia Tech beats Pitt, Georgia Tech is in the ACC championship game. If Virginia beats Virginia Tech next week, it's Virginia versus Georgia Tech if they both win. Because Georgia Tech plays Georgia next week. Things get interesting if Pitt, a 2.5-point dog, beats Georgia Tech and SMU can take care of business against Cal and Louisville. If that's the case, you're going to have Virginia versus SMU. If Va Tech can pull off the upset at Virginia, that's how Miami sneaks in. So a lot is on the line here. Similar to the Big 12, it's like, okay, if Texas Tech, BYU take care of business, that's who you're getting. If Georgia Tech and Virginia take care of business, that's who you're getting. If not, it gets a little more interesting. So let's start SMU, Louisville. I can't bet Louisville.
No.
Just because I don't know where they're at mentally. Even though I think they have the better defense. I think they have the better rushing attack especially when Brown is there, but he's not. Just from a situational spot, mentally, I do love myself some Braum as a dog. Maybe over a field goal, I'd consider them, but from a spot perspective, cross them off. Hit Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's been flirting with disaster. I mean, all year. I mean, they should have lost to Wake. They should have lost to BC.
They deserve to lose bad to NC State.
Yeah, the defense is not great. They have holes. The Haynes King has been amazing. Buster Faulkner's an amazing OC. It's strength on strength when Georgia Tech has the ball against the Pitt defense. I don't like the Pitt defense in this particular matchup. I think can match up well.
They do.
Georgia Tech's a lot of run, King making plays, short throws. Like they're ADOT. I don't know. It's like bottom 5 in the country. You really want to attack Pitt deep. That's not really Georgia Tech's MO.
Yep.
So I think Pitt's D can do enough here. And the question is, which Mason Heinzel are you getting? Because there will be opportunities against this Tech defense to move the ball. So what are you seeing in either or both of these ACC games?
Well, the Mason Heinzel issue comes down to the fact that he's a freshman, and no freshman has ever survived college football with pressure. Notre Dame got 22 pressures and 41 dropbacks. And really, if you look at what Heinzel's done this season, his turnover-worthy play skyrockets up to 7% whenever he gets pressure.
Yeah, he's been horrible under pressure. You saw that against Cuse. But Czech doesn't really get a lot of pressure.
No, they don't. They're 113th in creating a pass rush. So I think Pitt's offense is going to be just fine here. But on the other side of the ball, what does Georgia Tech do with Haynes King and Justice Haynes? It's all power and counter. And if you look at what Pitt does best, it was a little bit of a disadvantage against that zone read of Notre Dame, but they are fantastic against power and counter. They actually create a negative play on 14% of attempts by opponents. And then you look at, say, can they contain mobile quarterbacks with Haynes King coming in there? CJ Carr and Tommy Castellanos combined for 19 rushing yards against this Pitt defense. They are very good at setting outside contain, and they're very good at shutting down power and counter. I like them against Georgia Tech this weekend. So, and you're right. That game against Boston College, like, how big of a favorites were they? 14-17 up there? They had a 59% post-game win expectancy against and being that big of a favorite. And Brent Key at the end of the game was speechless because he didn't even think he should have won that game. So, by the way, there's also something very interesting going on in the last two box scores with Georgia Tech, and I don't know why. But in their last two games against BC and NC State, they're giving up 11 yards per play on third downs, and they're giving up 11 yards per play in third quarters. Well, I don't know what that is. I don't know how, like, I'm just staring at these box scores. Like, what is the problem on third downs, and what is the problem after halftime adjustment? So if you can't get
Their defense in general just has holes.
Yeah, it's bad. So if you can't get Pitt at 3, maybe wait live because third quarter is where I expect Pitt to pounce. But you can't get pressure on Heinzel, you're going to be in trouble. So I like Pitt in that game.
Yeah, 3, I would look Pitt or nothing.
You're right about SMU, though. Even though the market kind of loves Louisville here, 4.5 down to 2.5, it's like SMU is coming off of a bye. Their defense is like top 15 in havoc and a lot of other things. And Louisville's offensive line has just been – they can't push a pile on anybody. They're outside the top 100 in line yards, stuff rate. Like,
that's why they need Brown. He can create his own explosives, and he hits long runs.
Yeah,
and then he opens up the passing attack. You got to worry about him.
Yeah, so I agree with you. I mean, if Pitt wins this game, then they're a Miami victory, and you're going to say that Miami's going to go up to Pitt. Can we get a 10-day forecast on Pittsburgh here real quick?
Mario is going to Mario. ACC will be an interesting race.
41 degrees? Am I reading this? Miami's going to go up to Pitt at 41 degrees?
Nardog in the college football playoff. All right. Let's go to the SEC. Here's a game I like. I like Florida plus 4.5, plus 4.
Oof.
At home against Tennessee.
Well, they do get Caleb Banks back, right? So
massive. I think Vernal Brown's also going to play, but Caleb Banks. Gums is out, but he's been playing hurt. So, the last month he's been doing nothing. Thornton is worth watching, their safety. He matters. I think he's going to play, but he is questionable. But getting Caleb Banks back is enormous. He's a top 20 pick. He's probably maybe the best defensive tackle in college football. And Florida has had no pass rush. If you look at a guy like Sapp, take PFF grades. They aren't the end-all be-all. He was a 90 last year. He's like a 60 this year, right? When Banks is in there, you got to double him. It opens up everything else for the defensive line, and they're going to blitz a lot under Roberts. It allows the blitzes to get home, and you have to get pressure on Aguilar. Banks is super important. The other thing, so I just think this number's too high. I don't think it should be more than a field goal. We know that Florida didn't quit. We saw it last week, and now they're at home in the swamp against Tennessee.
Who hasn't won there? I think 10 times in a row they've lost in the swamp?
10 in a row, 10-0. Since they've won, let's see, they're 17-3 overall since 2005. They only lost by more than 4 once. They're 10-0 at home. And by the way, since 2015, Florida, home conference underdog, 11-2 against the spread, covering by over 12 points per game. Most profitable team in college football on that roll over the past 10 years. They've won 9 of those 13 outright. 2 others, they lost by less than a field goal. I mean, just a few weeks ago, they were catching 7 on a neutral field against Georgia and arguably should have won. They had a chance to beat Ole Miss last week. They destroyed Texas at home. What has Tennessee done? And by the way, Tennessee's strength of schedule is like 50th. Florida's is first. They've had the toughest schedule in the country. Tennessee should have lost to Arkansas if not for some turnover luck. Should have lost to Mississippi State if not for a defensive touchdown and some overtime luck. This is not an elite Tennessee team, mainly because their defense is not great. Florida can stop their run. Aguilar is going to hit some explosive passing plays, but I think he'll make some mistakes. Getting Banks back is huge. This home field is super underrated still in big games. And here's the thing. Lagway hasn't been great. I think he can hit some big passing plays. McCoy's not going to play again. Gibson's not going to play again. But Florida can just line up here and run the ball down Tennessee's throat the entire game. That'll help Lagway. And, I mean, if you look at it, Tennessee's defense, bottom 10 nationally in rush success rate. Florida, top 20 on offense. And keep in mind, Tennessee's played a really easy schedule for an SEC team. No one's played a harder schedule than Florida this year. I think you get Florida's best effort. I don't think this should be more than a field goal. Give me the Gators. Chomp, chomp.
God, I want to go against you, but I just... I mean, there's a couple of things I can't get over. First off, you're right about the pass rush, right? If you want to disrupt Joey Aguilar, you have to have a hand in his face. Maybe they get that now with Caleb Banks. But Tennessee is still a top 20 pass blocking team. I'm not sure if that makes the entire difference here. The other
no Kitzelman either at tight end for Tennessee.
Yeah. Well, there's another thing I have a problem with. Florida defensively is 134th, almost dead last in passing downs explosives allowed. Tennessee's top 15 in creating explosives and passing downs. I see this scenario where like 3rd and 18 becomes a touchdown for Tennessee. And
Tennessee's going to hit explosives through the air. There's no doubt about that. But I also think you're going to get the home running dog, right? Don't you agree that Florida's going to be able to run the ball here? And Tennessee's run D is bad.
Mm-hmm.
And Florida's rush offense, their offensive line has not been the problem this year. They can run block, and Ball is a good running back. And that's just going to set up some deep shots for Lagway, which he's certainly capable of hitting. And getting Vernell Brown back would be big.
I don't have a lot of faith in Billy Gonzalez either. It seems like they've been running the same thing week after week.
But that might work for Tennessee.
Yeah, what am I behind you now for the year? I don't want to finish behind you.
I'm 10-8, 18-15 overall.
Let's table this till the end of the pod. I'm having a head-to-head with you before the week's over. I'm not going to finish losing to you, so we'll see if this is it.
All right, let's stay in the SEC. Missouri at Oklahoma. Oklahoma in must-win mode after that huge win over Alabama. They win out, go on to the college football playoff. They have LSU next week, but first they play Missouri. It does not appear that Bo Perbula is going to play, right? Is that still the word on the street?
Yep. Mr. Zollers.
Oklahoma is they've been sitting between 7 and 10 all week. Right now it's I'll call it consensus 8 at DraftKings. Missouri's a juice 7.5. I'm not sure if we see a 7 here. One indicator book just went to 7.
Yeah, I saw. That's why I'm about to ask this question. Shouldn't we be playing Missouri on principle alone? Just from OU winning at Alabama, coming home and
Yeah, the spot screams Missouri. The problem is, and Oklahoma's off. I mean, they got outgained by 250 yards. The Oklahoma's offense is still limited.
Yep.
The Oklahoma offensive line will get destroyed by the Missouri defensive line here.
5th in havoc, 7th in pass rush. Yeah.
But my problem is Zollers he's not been good. Can a one-dimensional offense have success on the road against this Oklahoma defense, which is really good against the run? We've seen how to attack this Oklahoma this defense when they've faced really good passing attacks, right?
Yeah.
They've shown some cracks. But Missouri, which is basically a service academy now, I mean, against Mississippi State last week, they put up a ton of points, but what did they throw for? I mean, they only threw for And that Mississippi State team is gassed and beat up. And I mean, last week against Solars went 8 of 15 for 112 yards. So, like,
I will say this: the kid
already went for 300. I don't think he could do that against Oklahoma.
Well, Zollers does not have a turnover-worthy play yet. So at least as a caretaker role, he hasn't made a mistake. But if I had to play
low-scoring game, take the dog in a good spot.
If I had to play devil's advocate here, Ahmad Hardy, whatever happened during that bye week, remember he was gassed out, and I was wondering where the hell he is now gone completely apeshit, right?
He could break some explosive runs here.
109 against Texas A&M, 298 on the ground against Mississippi State. He averaged 5.5 yards after first contact over the last 2 games, and he's forced 10 missed tackles. So he drank some resurgence juice over the break, came back, and now he's his old self. And I'm wondering, like, did Ole Miss not just show up and do this on OU's home field and run all over them around the tackles? Because that's what Ahmad Hardy runs. So from the spot perspective, I feel like I should be betting Missouri. And I make the game 7. It's not that there's that much of an edge, but with this total, what are we at?
42.
Yeah,
I lean under too. Just because I think both defensive lines have advantages, and
that's a lot of points.
The kicking situation though worries me. Missouri's kicking.
Oh yeah, you don't want to go against Tate Sandell, right? That's your. Who, by the way, did you get your Lou Graza? Not Lou Graza. Your
Lou Graza.
Yeah, did you get your Lou Graza votes in? So
yep.
I can't reveal my vote, but Tate Sandell's pretty good.
He is.
Do you want to agree?
I lean Missouri. Do you want to put Missouri on the board?
Yeah, and I'm going to bet it now. There is an 8 out there right now. There's one out there in the desert.
7.5 juice. I mean, around 7.5 at DraftKings. That's fine too.
Yeah.
All right, we'll put Missouri on the board. By the way, I agree. 58, 40, and 1 lifetime. 59.2% for our favorite caller, who's always worried about that. Low scoring games, so like points at a premium. I think Hardy can break a couple long ones.
He only may need a couple.
Yeah, because I do think that Missouri defensive line is going to be a problem for Oklahoma. Kentucky at Vandy. Vandy's still in the college football playoff discussion. I mean, the way things are trending, we could get like 6 SEC teams in the 12-team field. Vandy 8.5 point favorite, total 53-ish, 53.5's out there, 53.5 at DraftKings. Kentucky's playing much better ball lately. Offense is clicking. Will Vandy be rejuvenated here out of the bye, right? I think that they went on a brutal run, and I think kind of got worn down. I don't know. I'm close to market on here. Do you see anything in Kentucky Vandy?
I'm at 10. I feel like it's going to be a brawl. Like I don't feel like there's going to be. Kentucky's not going to allow any explosives. Vandy's not going to try to create any. They're both going to try to be extremely methodical. I'm just trying to look for the gotcha here. I mean, even Kentucky is great against rush explosives, which is Vandy's MO. There's a big special teams advantage to Vandy. Really, it's all about can Kentucky defend the counter and the man concepts of Diego, and they can. To me, this is a grind, and you would take as many points as you can get. But I make it 10. I would love to have 10, but it's not. So
yeah, I got nothing there. I do think that you could see a rejuvenated Vandy team, a fresher team that just kind of got worn down, which could be a bit scary for Kentucky, but I'm pretty close to market. All right, some quarterback news here. All right, Air Force. I like New Mexico. Need a 3, though. They're a good money line piece. Here's the thing. New Mexico is good against the run. Defense about top 40 success rate. They cannot defend the pass. Air Force, their quarterback, Zark, is out for the year. And by the way, everyone giving me shit for that over. He went out for the year in the second quarter. I didn't even realize it until I went back and watched that game. Their backup, big drop-off.
Is this the fullback?
What's that?
Is the fullback running quarterback? The one that was practicing preseason who could have almost won the job? I didn't mean to put you on.
Kemper Hodges.
That's right.
So I think it's a big drop-off. New Mexico, here's the thing. They're going to cook. The Air Force gets no pressure. They're slow foot on the back end. New Mexico is going to be able to get the run game going. They're going to hit explosives all over the place through their air. They're playing still for a Mountain West championship place. Air Force just eliminated from bowl contention. I mean, Air Force at home has been so disappointing this year. I mean, they're 0-4 against the spread at home. 10-15 over the past 5 seasons against FBS competition. But that's the big injury news there. New Mexico wasn't impressive last week, but they turned the ball over 5 times. I think Eck will have them focused. But that's big quarterback news there. Syracuse going with the lacrosse pro again. I laid it with the Irish. I think they want to name it here. All this talk about Miami, Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Notre Dame doesn't have a conference championship. They have Stanford last home game. I don't know how Hughes scores. I like Notre Dame there.
I have more on that in a segment coming up later.
Coastal.
But you know what? If Jelly was going to play, I probably would have even bet it more. You know.
Yeah, I mean this kid can't play. Coastal. Collier's going to be out. They're not the same offense without him. He gave them a lot of juice with his legs. Weird spot, though. Coastal eliminated from the division last week. South Carolina eliminated from postseason contention in a heartbreaking loss of 30-3. No clue on that one. Boise State looks like they're still going with the backup, who's thrown for 210 total yards in 2 games. They've scored 14 points over their past 2 games. Now they're laying over 14. Colorado State finally showed some life last week. Boise State, maybe. I think they're still alive in the Mountain West somehow, if there's chaos. But
there is. They are, yeah.
I'd have to look at the points there. This Boise offense with Cutforth is oof.
I went into some sort of diagram of like if San Diego State loses this weekend and there's 6 2-loss teams, it's great. It's bad. We're not going to be able to figure out the Mountain West on Sunday's pod. Let me just put it that way.
Sam Houston, quarterback's out. Middle Tennessee. Looks like they're going with Gagliano. Some quarterback injury news there. All right, let's talk a little FC yes or no. It is Tin Horn weekend. Samford at Texas A&M and Eastern Illinois at Bama. Texas A&M has Texas. They're pretty much locked into a college football playoff spot on deck. Alabama has the Iron Bowl on deck. You going to make a case for either one of these dogs?
I mean, Sagarin makes Texas A&M 70-point favorites over Samford, right? So I'm not really sure how you could say anything that Texas A&M isn't going to show up and do this, but they do have the biggest game of the season coming up. Is it, though? I mean, I made that tweet, and I think I got 1,000 responses when I said Texas A&M can lose to Texas. It's not going to matter. It's not going to matter at all. I'm trying to look at what Texas A&M did before in these kinds of spots. New Mexico State last year, they won 38-3. Abilene Christian, 38-10 2 years ago. But, I mean, we're talking pre-Elko if we go any farther. So it's not like they've covered huge spreads, but they're not exactly like they're not trying to blow them out in the second half is what I'm looking at. Maybe a first half play on some of these 10-horn games.
Denzel Boston just downgraded the doubtful, by the way, for Washington. How about Eastern Illinois, Alabama? I have no clue. Anything there?
Nothing for me.
Okay. All right. It is that time of the year. We have the best deal on Action Pro as part of our Black Friday pre-sale, which is live now. Sign up now for $40 off an annual subscription, which is our biggest sale of the year. Action Pro users get real-time alerts as soon as experts like Breeze, Duck, Colin, myself track picks in the app. Without Action Pro, you'll need to wait 30 minutes to get alerts and risk not getting the best of the number. Also matters for live betting. You'll also get real-time money percentage to see where the smart money is flowing and access to our NFL player prop projections, super valuable, that are powered by Sean Kerner. And soon, Nick Giffen will fire up his unbelievable men's college basketball player prop projections. The best deal of the year runs through Sunday. Just go to actionnetwork.com/pro to sign up now for $40 off an annual subscription. Can't beat the deal. I promise it'll be worth it. All right. It's time for some trash. All right, let's get to some trash. It's just been pushing money back and forth. I'm slightly down on trash in the air. It's hopefully closed strong. 41, 35, 54% lifetime, which I'll take, but I want to be better.
Well, I agree with you on the first one, so go ahead.
Rutgers.
Yeah.
Taking the points here. Here's why. Number one, Ohio State was just around this price range against UCLA with their backup quarterback and travel. It did cover, but they needed a touchdown in the final minute. They were minus 28.5 against Ohio. Didn't cover. Minus 28 against Purdue. Didn't cover. So they're 1-2 against the spread as a favorite of more than 28. I have Rutgers as like 4 to 5 points better than UCLA with their backup when you account for travel. Rutgers coming off a bye, still playing for a bowl. And Rutgers has a competent offense. Now, Rutgers' defense is horrendous. Horrendous. Maybe the worst in Power 4. But how's Ohio State managing the season? We talked about this many times. Super slow. They're dead last in seconds per play now. And they don't want injuries. So you know what I think they're going to do here? I don't think Jeremiah Smith or Carnell Tate play.
Yeah.
Why would they? They got Michigan on deck, then the Big Ten championship, then the College Football Playoff. Everything that Ohio State has shown us is that it's all about the long-term outlook. They're managing the season. So without Smith, without Tate, I think it's going to be more running. That'll help the Rutgers defense. Mm-hmm. I think the Rutgers offense can, and there's going to be limited possessions with the way Ohio State plays.
Well,
you know that Shiano will have like a special teams trick play up his sleeve. So, yeah, I mean, I think they can get to like 14, 17, including garbage time. And I just need Ohio State not to get to above, 42 with the way that they play and without potentially Smith and Tate. I'll take my chances with Rutgers coming off a bye. And they've dealt with so many injuries, so that should be helpful for them.
Is it – I don't want to get I'm going to get blasted for this, but are we sure Ohio State's run defense is like national championship level? I mean, because from a line yards and a stuff rate perspective, I would say they're not. And Rutgers has a tougher strength of schedule, and they're 16th in stuff rate. I wouldn't be surprised to see Rutgers run the ball more than usual. They're about 52% of snaps this year. And I wouldn't be surprised to see them have some extended drives that eat some clock. I think 31's – I mean, I make it 29, but I think –
Yeah, I think it should be under 30. So
yeah, I agree.
All right, on the board?
Yeah, on the board. I mean, I think Rutgers is going to eat clock anyways, and if Ohio State decides to do the same thing, it's pretty
that's all they've been doing all year.
Yeah.
By the way, another spot. This isn't trash, but man, where is Duke at mentally? And is that team broken? Like the 7 with UNC is tempting, but Bill is so unreliable.
Mm-hmm.
All right, on the agree so far, Missouri and Rutgers. Let's get to some more trash. UAB plus 21.5. Colin, this is first of all, I make this under 3 touchdowns.
All right.
Second off, is Golish is spending the whole week interviewing.
Yeah, true.
Third, does USF get off the bus? They were in the driver's seat for the College Football Playoff. Get upset. Now they go to UAB, who can score, who can put up points. Now it's scary because USF plays with so much pace, and the UAB defense is awful. But even backdoor, they can get it. This team can put up points. And I'm not sure USF is focused here. Like, this is a dream crusher spot. Second straight road game. I got to take over 3 touchdowns.
Not joining, not this UAB defense. They're
not taking your boy?
I love Alex Mortensen, but
they're fighting for him. Last week, you might look at the box score. I mean, you might look at the final score and say, oh, they lost by 30 plus. It was dead even in yardage. They were just -4 in turnovers. Like, they're not going to get a stop. Like, USF will get to 45, 50. If they really care, they'll get to 50 to 55. But I mean, I think UAB can get to like 24 to 28 here.
I'm looking at a spreadsheet with at least 51 lines of analytics. I can barely find anything that's inside the top 130 defensively.
Yeah, their defense is horrendous. So I'm not going to build any case for it. This is more of a spot play, but my pure number is also under 3 touchdowns. All right.
Good luck with your ace, sir.
And all right, let's get even uglier. Charlotte.
Oh my God. What do I make this number?
How many times you can throw out the number? It's Kirby Smart as a favorite of more than 38 points. He's 0-15 against the spread. And it's not like he's been close. His average cover margin is -10 points per game. I'm going to go back to Austin Peay earlier this year. 28-3. Do you think Georgia could have beat Austin Peay by more? Here's what he does in these games. They don't show anything.
Right.
They just try to get the game over. They work on certain things. I've mentioned this before against Kent State a few years ago. By the way, they were 45-point favorites. They won by 17.
Yep.
I bet UMass. You told me how crazy I was for betting UMass in the same exact spot last year. Coming off a big win to lock up the College Football Playoff, Georgia Tech on deck. UMass covered as a 38.5-point favorite. They were a touchdown less than Charlotte. Charlotte is awful. Charlotte is horrendous and beat up and terrible. I'm not going to say one good thing about Charlotte. This is only about Georgia. Now, if Georgia cares and comes out and they're like, oh, let's roll, then they're going to win by 55. Okay? I'm just throwing that out there. But I faded Georgia as a huge favorite almost every time, and it's worked out. If it doesn't this time, so be it. Do you want to hear the craziest one? Georgia in 2016 was a 52.5-point favorite over Nicholls State. Do you know what the final score was? 26-24. Can you believe that? Go look, Google right now, Nicholls State, Georgia, 2016. You're not even going to believe it. They won 26-24. They were 52-point favorites.
You know, I don't have to Google. I've got here. Let me go through because I'm about to go head to head with you. So let me go through a few of these. All right. I can go ahead. Yeah, I can do this with you. Go ahead and write it down. Go ahead and write it down. I'm gonna go head to head with you. 28-6 against Austin Peay. 59-21 against UMass.
They got 21 to UMass. They were down. I think they were down 21-14 late first half in that game.
48-3 against Tennessee Tech. 45-3 Ball State.
Wouldn't have covered any of those numbers.
Samford 33-0.
Wouldn't have covered again.
And 39-22.
They were 45-point favorites.
I got my winner. Charleston Southern 56-7.
Didn't cover. They're 60-point favorites.
UAB 56-7 in 2021.
Didn't cover.
This is a 63-17 against Murray State in 2019. I don't think that's a cover.
Nope.
I'm going to go ahead. It's a freebie for you. I'll go head to head with you. You got it down?
Did you get back to 2016? Nicholls State?
Oh, hey, let me get back to 2016. All right. I got Nicholls right here. 26-24.
They're 52-point favorites.
Hold on. It was 10-7 at half. And then Georgia really turned on the Jets and scored 16 in the third quarter. 26-20. Nicholls scored 10 in the fourth quarter and got within 2 points.
Yeah. They were 52-point favorites.
Who is the Georgia quarterback?
Eason.
Very good.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb.
I couldn't believe that. I was looking back at the results to check them. I was like, it said 52, and then I saw the score. I was like, this has to be wrong. And I went back and looked.
Georgia got stuffed on 40% of carries against Nicholls State.
Nicholls State wasn't. They finished under 500 that year. All right, we're going head to head.
All right.
FIU against Jacksonville State.
This one's
at home. I think FIU has more juice without Keon Jenkins. I don't know if he's going to play this week, but look, Jenkins, 6.2 yards per attempt, 5 big-time throws, 13 turnover-worthy plays, 8 ADOT, 62% completion percentage. Pisanski, 7 yards per attempt, 8 big-time throws, 4 turnover-worthy plays, a 12 ADOT with a higher completion percentage. This Jacksonville State team, I'm sorry, they're a fraud. Like, yes, they're 6-0 in league play. Cam Cook is great, but even with Cam Cook being great, they have one of the easiest schedules in the country. Here's who they beat. Like, can we look at this? Liberty, when Liberty was a mess, they were outgained by 200 yards in that game, by the way. Sam Houston by 2 on a walk-off 52-yard field goal. Delaware by 14. They were gifted 21 points, outgained by 100 yards. 3 points at Middle Tennessee, even game statistically. By 3 at UTEP, even game statistically. And then they won last week against Kennesaw by 9. They were outgained 580 to 450. They got 4 turnovers. In league play, they're +9 in turnover margin. Lucky on 4th downs. Yes, they're 3-0 on the road in league play. Here's who they beat. UTEP, Sam Houston, and Middle Tennessee by a combined 8 points. FIU playing for bowl eligibility. This is a weird spot for Kennesaw. Yeah, I mean, for Jacksonville State. Yes, they can clinch a spot in the conference title, but next week against Western Kentucky will really decide it and who's going to host it. After a big win over Kennesaw, FIU's getting it done at home.
You can put it on the agree. I just bet it.
Love it. By the way, Jacksonville State's not the same team on the road past 2 years. 7-2 against the spread at home, covering by 7 points per game. On the road, 4-8 against the spread. All right, let's go to mention Charlotte. I'm going to see what's on the board here. I got UAB, Rutgers, Charlotte.
This is a 10-horn weekend kind of names we're getting up there.
FIU.
I feel like we should throw like a Mercer team total over on there just for fun.
Well, here's one. LSU. I'm going to put it in trash as a.
You're taking LSU against Western Kentucky.
Yeah. LSU is a big favorite. Is that considered trash or no?
LSU is trash.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
All right.
I thought their defensive coordinator was trash before the season started.
So here's the thing. I think Weeks might be back, which is big. Nussmeier's not going to go. I'm fine with Van Buren here. Well, Nussmeier's been playing hurt all year. LSU hasn't been able to operate because they don't have a run game. Their offensive line can't block SEC teams. So that's not going to be a problem against Western Kentucky. You can't even look at the stats for this game. Western Kentucky, their strength of schedule is 154th. That includes FCS teams on Sagarin. LSU 6th. Western Kentucky also, I don't know how much they care about this game.
Right.
Their entire season comes down to next week. Do they sit guys that are hurt? Do they not show anything? Are they spending this week preparing for Jacksonville State? But like Western Kentucky has played nobody this year. These are their wins. This you want to laugh. Sam Houston, North Alabama, Nevada, they were outgained. Missouri State, their quarterback got hurt at the half. It was still a 5-point win. Delaware,
barely.
They should have lost to Delaware. They were outgained by 100. Fluky win. A bunch of fluky things happened. La Tech by 1 in overtime. They needed an improbable 4th down. New Mexico State and Middle Tennessee. That's they're all outside the top 100. They lost by 20 to FIU. The only team that I have even close to the top 50 that's above average is Toledo. On the road, they lost 45-21. This is a huge step up in class. LSU you could say, okay, does LSU even care? It's at night in Baton Rouge. It's their last home game of the season. I think they show up. They need like a game where they can stretch their legs, open it up. By the way, since 2005, Western Kentucky 9-16 against the spread is a road underdog against power conference teams. Against all others, 31-11. So when they step up in class on the road, different story. And I think this is just a huge shock to the system. I'm not even sure they care that much. Like their season's next week. LSU should finally be able to block a team, finally be able to get a run game going. And their defense is going to cause issues for Tisdale. Freshman, like he's had 2 good starts in a row. They were at home against Middle Tennessee and New Mexico State, 2 of the worst teams in the country. Now you're going to face this LSU defense. Give me LSU. I make this over 24. LSU
Can you, side note here, because we're getting ready to, this is going to be a big topic here in 2 weeks. I can't imagine taking Conference USA in any bowl game. Like, I will not hit a single opener. I mean, consider that Toledo score, right? Once we get to bowl season, what conference are you taking a Conference USA team against? None of them.
ACC. All right. I don't want to think about bowl season right now. We're going to start tracking injuries and opt-outs very soon. That's a arduous task. All right. That's trash. LSU, UAB, Rutgers, Charlotte, FIU. It ain't pretty, folks.
That's 10 horn. Get through a 10-horn weekend.
10-horn weekend. Let's go nowhere fast. San Diego State hosting San Jose State. San Diego State in the driver's seat in the Mountain West. San Jose State, I don't know what's happened to them. Last week was one of the most embarrassing losses of the season, getting destroyed by Nevada.
Who's in last place of the Mountain
What do you see here?
Well, San Diego State really needs this game before they have a really tough trip to the ABQ next week against New Mexico. It is senior night for San Diego State. Hawaii dismantled San Diego State last week. The Aztecs averaged 2 yards per play and 24 passing downs. And so this investigation for me has been, is this a reflection of Hawaii on defense, or is this a thing where Denegal is just having issues? And I think it's more of a Denegal problem. He's had 1 big-time throw in his last 4 games. And but this might be the antidote that he needs, because San Jose State's 126 in defensive pass EPA, and they're 131st.
They fired their DC. They fired the special teams coordinator. It's a mess.
Yeah, Joe Plassick, special teams coordinator, got fired. Derek Odom got fired. So this is a really good spot for San Diego State to get back up on their feet for offensively. And I think San Jose State's going to be able to cover because, I think they're going to force Denegal to pass, but I think San Jose State's going to get back up on their feet here. So over is the play when it comes to nowhere fast. I'm probably going to come in on San Jose State at some point.
All right, let's talk. Sadly, we got to talk some Arkansas football. The greatest 2-8 team.
We have a 2:30 time slot again on ABC. That hasn't happened to Razorback football in forever.
Greatest 2-8 team in the history of football. They're 2-8 with a scoring differential of plus 18.
Yeah,
they've set the FBS record already for losses by 3 or less.
I have this in my notes. You ready? Auburn, Mississippi State, LSU. Arkansas's post-game win expectancy was 62, 74, and 64%. Didn't win any of them.
Unbelievable. So I mean, they'd be favored over whoever goes for the Group of 5 to the College Football Playoff. Arkansas will be favored over them.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Because you know what? I make this game 7. I was shocked. I was shocked that I made this game 7. Texas only favored by on their home field? Really? Have I dropped Texas that much? And Arkansas, I just haven't dropped at all?
Well, here's the thing. This is a tricky game situationally. So I would think Arkansas is still trying.
Yes.
But do they let go if do they let go of the rope, right? Can't go to a bowl, so many heartbreaking losses. I've been waiting to get your thoughts on this.
Yeah.
You'd be more down in there. I would think Texas is more at risk. Their season pretty much ended last week. You have Texas A&M and Deck. You're off that bad loss against Georgia. Probably not going to the College Football Playoff.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of variance in this game because if one team doesn't show up, it's trouble. I'm going to have Arkansas in my round robin because of the variance.
Right. I wish I could join you on that because I just don't know if this team knows how to win a game. Because to me, how this game ends,
Arkansas, they could just never get a stop when they need it too.
I think Arkansas is going to be losing by 3 or 4 and have a touchdown drive going, and there's going to be a fumble in the red zone. I mean, it's just been that kind of season. So needless to say, yeah, I am going to bet Arkansas here. The number opened at 11, crashed down to 9. This is a Texas sandwich spot between Georgia and their little brother, Texas A&M. Plus, can you find me 2 different coaches right now that are any more contrasting in offensive finishing drives? I got Sark at 115th. I got Petrino in the top 30. I mean, to me, I have more faith in the dog in Texas's building scoring in scoring position than I do in the home team. Plus, Texas, they're 75th in creating a contested catch. They're 78th in PBUs. This defense is not as good as what we thought it was going to be. Arkansas at Taylor Green, which he's doing fine, by the way. I actually talked to Taylor Green the other day. He has a 58% success rate against cover 3 and a huge EPA number against cover 3. That's all Kwiatkowski's defense covered nickel defense is. So, look, Arkansas's defense is horrible in everything. It looks like Charlotte, right? But they are top 15 in tackling. The effort is there. The fundamentals are there.
And you still think they care, right? And they care. They care about Texas more than Texas cares about Arkansas, right?
I know for a fact 100% that these players still care, and they care about this game, and they're going down there to try to win this game. But I think that gas in that tank is gone during the first quarter against Drink. I think that because Petrino has been on them so hard, and I've heard it from 3 different players. There are Senior Bowl invites. There are Combine invites. There are portal. There's a dollar value in the portal I have to work on. I have a value assigned to me as a player. I've heard these things over and over and over, and I've heard it this week. Now, when does that gas run out of that tank? When Drink decides that he wants to open up and beat the shit out of Arkansas again. And I think in the middle,
when he hands to Hardy 40 times.
Yeah, Hardy's going to absolutely eat Arkansas alive. So I think the gas runs out of the tank next week. I'm just going to bet it now.
You want to put it on the board?
Yeah, let's put it on the board. I'm just going to bet it now. I've been waiting for this. And
you don't think a 10's coming?
Who is betting Texas?
Lead indicator at 8 now.
Who is betting Texas?
I'll join you at some point.
All right.
All right, before we get out of here, let's go. 3 and out. All right, first down, Friday Night Lights, Florida State at NC State. I have no idea. Hard to trust Florida State on the road.
Under.
And then Hawaii at UNLV. I like Hawaii catching the points.
UNLV. Really?
Yeah, if you can get 3, I think. Hawaii coming off a bye. I mean, UNLV, they should have lost to Utah State. They should have a couple more losses on the year. Their defense is horrendous. Hawaii's actually been feisty away from the island, finally. I make that under a field goal. I don't love it, but what do you say?
I took Florida State, NC State under. Not a big play, guys. Just a half unit play. I think I make it like 58, so 59 is the key. Weather could be in play out there. There's some storms forecasted in the area. And NC State's offense is completely based on explosives. They're top 25 in both rush and pass EPA. Florida State's defense is 20th against rush EPA. And I just don't expect CJ Bailey to have his scrambles. I don't expect Hollywood Smothers to have explosives. And by the way, what happened to Smothers last week? He had 7 carries for -2 yards against Miami. I expect something like that. NC State, top 20 in defensive rushing success rate. FSU has one of the heavier rush rates in the nation at 63%. So I do like the under there, but it's not anything large. I haven't bet Hawaii UNLV. UNLV, I think they have the edge in this game because they're a top 10 team in rush EPA, and Hawaii's 117th in defending rush EPA. And that's where I kind of got, that is UNLV's MO on offense. Hawaii defense is also dead last in pass downs explosives allowed, and that's where UNLV kind of operates. Huge middle eight difference in this game. So if I don't play it pregame, Mullen's 4th in the nation middle eight, and Timmy Chang's 97th. So I will have that in the back of my mind if you don't see a UNLV pregame. I probably would hop in on UNLV live, especially if they're losing.
All right, UNLV games are always nice, good live trading games. Second down, our favorite overdogs, aka our favorite favorites. I'm gonna go with James Madison minus 13.5. Numbers guys probably have this around 13. I'm actually above 14. Accounting for the spot. Washington State traveling across country. By the way, Pullman to Harrisonburg is not an easy trip, and it's a 10 a.m. local body clock game. Washington State cannot block. Their pass protection's awful. Well, good luck against JMU. Top 10 in pressure rate. I don't know how Washington State scores. They could hit a couple explosives. You can get them against JMU, but they're not going to be able to finish drives. They're not going to be able to sustain drives. They're not going to be able to move the ball on a down-to-down basis. Washington State's defense has been feisty, but here's the thing. Here's where I think some hidden edges in this game. Number one, I think Washington State's value is overinflated because of these spots in the schedule, right? You had Lane Kiffin say he didn't prepare for them. You had the La Tech dreadful scheduling spot when they were down to their third-string quarterback. You had the Toledo spot, right? These are blowout losses over teams that have a pulse, and it inflates Washington State's rating. And then that Ole Miss game where they just didn't care. This is still a very limited offense. And most importantly, JMU, they got disrespected again in the polls. They know they need to put up style points.
Completely
disrespected. The college world up. They're not going to take the foot off the gas. Last week, this total's low, which isn't ideal for laying 13.5. These are two slow-paced teams. But last week in the fourth quarter, they were running hurry up, no huddle with Sluka in there. And they were up 44-3, and they put up 2 more touchdowns. Bob knows. Chesney knows. And by the way, Barnett wasn't healthy earlier in the year. He's been much better. First 5 games, 58%, 5.75 yards per attempt, 2.7 yards per rush. Last 5 games, 64%, 10 yards per attempt, 6 yards per rush. He's playing much better. I like JMU here.
I can't disagree with you. I mean, the slide from the playoff committee was interesting. I'm going to go Notre Dame. You already mentioned it earlier. Notre Dame, they just have 2 bullet points on their schedule to prove to the college football playoff committee. By the way, good job, Hunter Yurchek. Good interview. They have 2 bullet points left for the committee to review. Syracuse 3-7, can't go to a bowl, not really anything to play for. Lost by 28 to Miami, 17 to UNC, 25 to Georgia Tech, 35 to Duke. This Ricky Collins kid nearly triple the amount of turnover-worthy plays versus big-time throws. Syracuse near dead last in pass explosives allowed. This is not a good look, and Notre Dame really desperately needs to make sure the committee remembers that they deserve to be ahead of Miami, which is a whole dog shit conversation for another time. But I think Notre Dame lays it as much as they can here.
I agree. I like both these, JMU and Notre Dame. And then finally, third down, our favorite underdog. I'm going to go with UTSA against ECU. I think this is a coin flip game. By the way, Jeff Traylor at home against league opponents is 24-0. That's all you need to know. And at ECU, I think their secondary is vulnerable. UTSA, different team at home. Night and day. McCown is finally healthy, playing like it. This is back and forth game. Trust Traylor at home. All the pressure's on ECU here. ECU on the road. Look, and by the way, I mentioned these teams, UTSA, different team at home and away. 5 of their past 7 have been on the road. 5 of the past 7 for ECU have been at home. And their road games this year, like their road wins were Coastal before, when Coastal was a mess, and Temple, which has no home field advantage, and their entire secondary was out. I think UTSA gets it done at home, gets the bowl eligibility. Trust Traylor at home. 24-0. Straight up.
Yeah, well, listen, we were tapped into fading our 40-1 ticket on Southern Miss last week. Let's tap into that again, because the only game that matters on that schedule for them right now is Troy next week. They don't care about South Alabama, and quarterback Braylon Braxton listed as questionable for this game. There's no reason for him to play.
Oh boy, it was ugly without him last week.
I know, and it's going to be ugly again.
Andrew Liddy.
Yeah, Liddy. I mean, you should have heard Major Applewhite see the comments. He was like, no disrespect to Liddy. He can throw the ball, but it's just a completely different animal when Braylon Braxton's in there. I don't think they're expecting to see Braxton this week. I don't think he's going to be there. South Alabama's won 2 of their last 3. Quarterback Bishop Davenport is finally playing the way that I saw in the bowl game last year when I thought that South Alabama was going to be a pretty good team this year. Him and Kentrell Bullock had 2 rush TDs against ULM last week. The Jags are 5-0 all time against Southern Miss, and what this is like a rivalry, but they're not talking about how it's a rivalry. It's a proximity rivalry. This game's a big deal to South Alabama, even though it's not been a great season, and this game means nothing to Southern Miss. So I'll take South Alabama.
All right, let's go over the board. We have, do you remember what we were saying? Liddy, he came in for like UAB. Remember, or La Tech? He's been all over the place. We were yelling about him on the podcast one time when he had to come in.
Yeah.
Agree tab, Missouri, Rutgers, FIU, and Arkansas. It's an interesting smorgasbord. Head-to-head, Charlotte, Georgia, putting the Kirby streak on the line. Trash, UAB, Rutgers, Charlotte, FIU, and LSU. 959 Bad Beat voicemails. Recap episode on Sunday. Coming back on Monday. By the way, we will have you covered Thanksgiving. Work our asses off to get all NFL and college pods out by Wednesday for your listening pleasure, before you travel, before you do whatever you need to do for the holidays. We will have everything out for an amazing slate, NFL and college, starting Thursday through the entire weekend. We got you covered as always. Make sure you check out the Group of 5 guys. Episode is already out. Shout out to Duck and Breeze. Live show, 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Saturday, as always. Thanks to Colin for joining me. Thanks to all of you for listening. Thanks to our producer, David, on the back end. Make sure you subscribe, tell a friend, tell an enemy. Leave a 5-star review if you can. Really helps us out, especially this time of the year. Thanks again for tuning in. Let's have a weekend. Enjoy the games. Catch y'all later. Cheers.
Peace out.